Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. That means 00.00 sign. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Overall stats, probably the best in the league. Team with the best record in the league. And other players as well. I mean,
his defensive impact on the court is like no other in the league right now.
Yeah. Gives them an identity.
That was a very good argument. So getting into our last and most anticipated award, the most valuable player. Josh, take your pick.
And maybe there is. It depends on the person, but
welcome back to the 3rd and 1 podcast. It's the 3-man wrecking crew. You already know what we do. It's Nick, Sam, Tim, and Josh. Sam, floor's all yours.
All right, so to start off the episode, we're going to address our viewer messages like we do every other episode. We have 2 of them today. The first one is, why did we start this podcast and how did it all come together?
I think that we started this podcast because 2 reasons. One, we had a love for sports. Some of us more than others for different sports. Like no one cares about hockey. No one cares about cricket. But basically, the other reason being, my voice is very soothing in the microphone. And I knew that we would be able to create an audience.
But for real, we would always talk sports and have like these debates like day in and day out. And so we thought, why not get that out there and get our conversations and debates out there? And yeah, the 4 of us got together and here we are.
I mean, yeah, we all kind of individually wanted to do a podcast, and there was some stuff in the works, and then, I mean, it took a while, but we're here now. And yeah, honestly, I don't know what else to say. We all wanted to do a podcast because we all love sports.
Yep.
And
all right, so our second question is NBA related, and they asked,
Shocker.
Do we think that the Boston Celtics could win a championship within the next 4 years?
Hell no. God, no. They're trash.
A lot of things would have to go their way, I feel like.
I don't think
if they keep everything together, then
I mean, Tatum will be a superstar.
With Kemba, with Tatum will be a superstar at that point. Jaylen Brown,
but they got to pay all of them. They have to pay all of them.
They got to pay all of them.
That's not going to happen. And they have to even hope
they have Brown under contract. They have Kemba under contract. They just need to pay Tatum. That's all they need to do, and they have the money to do it.
But I think the other problem, though, is that they would have to hope that within 4 years, everything goes their way. Like, if Milwaukee stays as Milwaukee, they're not getting past Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Philly just needs to figure some things out after this season. Philly, even dysfunctional, I would argue, is on a level that's equal to Boston. They haven't played like it all season long, but when they're at their best, like, Boston doesn't really compete with them as much. Toronto lost Kawhi, and Toronto is still better than Boston. Boston would have to, dude, Tim, your hate for Toronto makes absolutely no sense. They literally just won a championship, and they're the second best team in the East.
I apologize. Yes. So the Miami Heat, when LeBron left, are clearly title contenders, and I should very
much. They didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, wait. Can we look at the win difference from the Miami Heat when LeBron left to when he was there? Like the Raptors now.
Raptors just got lucky this year. They're getting lucky. They're getting very lucky.
I don't know how you get lucky with like a 15-game win streak. I seriously don't.
You just get really lucky.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't see it happening. A lot of things would have to go their way, and also there's some very good teams that have a great young core that I don't see just kind of fading off and Boston overcoming them.
Well, the thing is, the thing is, the Celtics will have good or decent picks in the
Yeah.
future, and they always seem to draft well and make good roster moves. So I could see it. Like Hayward's contract's going to be off the books soon after next year because there's no way he's declining $31 million. He's not getting $31 million on another team. So I mean, they could do it. They just need to assemble their roster correctly and get
I don't
past the
know.
other teams.
I guess the other thing though is like we've been saying that they've been title contenders for the past 5 years, and there's a reason we've given up on that logic. Because every year we say something like that, and either A, something goes wrong injury-wise, which I'm not going to count out could happen in the next 4 years, or B, they just become extremely disappointing in the playoffs. Like, we expect them to actually give some sort of push and give some sort of shove, and they just don't. Sometimes they just have those series where they just die, and they show no fight whatsoever. So I think that's more why I'm hesitant to say that they could be title contenders within the next 4 years. It's just because the last 5 years, they just haven't shown that at all. And I can't say this is the best Boston Celtics the last 5 years.
I think it is. Team-wise, not like,
On paper, right.
player roster-wise. And even then, debatably, like, this team fits a lot better. Kemba's a better fit than Kyrie is, whether he's a better player or not. Kemba's a better fit. He doesn't need the ball. They got rid of Marcus Morris and Terry Rozier, which I think is pretty underrated considering they were taking almost 20 shots a game last year from Tatum, Brown, and Kyrie. They're moving in the right direction. They just need some shooting off the bench and maybe a consistent center. Like at this point in the NBA, I don't know if you need a consistent center to win a ring.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't know. Just a good group of decent and solid centers.
Guys for sending in those messages. Feel free to send in more and we'll get to them next episode. But moving on to our side topics today. So not a whole lot has happened within the last week, but two big things did happen, and we're going to discuss them real quick. Earlier today, Patrick Mahomes signed the largest – he signed a 10-year extension with the Kansas City Chiefs that is worth up to $503 million, which is the largest contract in sports history. I mean, he's the best quarterback in the league. I think it was a good move. 10 years, that's crazy.
That was really the only part that shocked me, because I just 10 years to be held down to one franchise with a no trade clause in place. I mean, my God. But I'm not even mad about the amount he was given, though. Like, he is a transcendent level quarterback. We have never seen a quarterback start and just play the way we've seen him play. He has an absolute stop.
Go.
No, Tim, I'm a Panthers fan, and I'm telling you he's not.
I'm a Cam Newton fan.
Listen though. I'm not done yet, though. Patrick Mahomes in 2 full seasons as a starting quarterback, he's already got an MVP. He's already passed for 5,000 yards. In a season where he was injured for a large amount of the season, he passed for 4,000 yards. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's a Super Bowl MVP. He's the only quarterback to ever lead 3 playoff games where they were down 10 points or more. Like, I'm not surprised at all that he got this money. Honestly, he should have got this money, maybe even more. I think what's crazy is to say this and say he may deserve more because he's only in his 4th season now, and where he's only started for 2 whole years, and he's only going to get better. He's only going to get smarter as a quarterback.
Right.
So I think, gosh, a deal like this is just crazy because you really say to yourself, how is it possible that someone may be shorting themselves?
I mean, the Chiefs weren't messing around. Like, they gave everything to Mahomes, like possible. He'll be on the team till he's 37 years old. He's 24 and he has 36. He has more years left on his current deal anyways. So like the Chiefs really committed to him. And this could cause problems in the future with surrounding with assets. But even then, the value of a great quarterback, the best quarterback in the league, and on pace to be an all-time great, it's very valuable. So you can't really mess around with that. And they locked into Mahomes for eternity, basically.
Let me tell you something. I am a very big Patrick Mahomes fan. He's Mahomie. I really, really think that he's a great football player. I love to watch him, but I got to tell y'all something right now because something in the back burner happened that is going to spoil everything that's fun for the Kansas City Chiefs. Because Bill Belichick did it again. He picked up Cameron Newton. And when I tell you, he's done being humble, he's ready to kick some Mahomie. He's going to get to the Super Bowl. He's going to win 7 consecutive Super Bowls.
Okay.
All 7 with the Super Bowl MVP.
Nice.
And he's going to overshadow everything that Patrick Mahomes has ever done.
All right. No.
don't have a
Listen,
comment for that.
to everyone.
Don't
To
even
ev-
address
no,
it.
listen,
Don't
to
even
everyone
address
at
it.
home, I am a Panthers fan. Drew Brees put Cam Newton and us Panthers on a leash for like 5 years. We have not even touched.
Speaking of a leash.
No, listen. Stop for a second. We haven't even touched the top of the NFC South since 2015. Drew Brees has absolutely torched us. Matt Ryan has absolutely torched us. I love Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton never gets enough respect that he deserves, ever. Cam Newton is going to be absolutely nothing in Patrick Mahomes' way. If Patrick Mahomes almost took the dynasty Patriots, he took them to overtime. And to think that he almost won and probably lost on some kind of questionable calls.
I would not say.
I mean,
that.
of course you wouldn't, though. Like, of course you wouldn't. There were some very...
I
There was a
don't-
very
I
questionable.
don't agree.
There was one very questionable call.
I
The
don't
roughing the
know.
passer
I
was
don't know.
awful.
Yes, no, there is
The
one call.
roughing the passer was horrible.
there was
But
one call
the
that's
one
very
where it's
suspect.
like the
There
one
is
where
one
it's
call that's suspect. And that's-
offsides, I can understand that one. Like, you just kind of got to be better.
Yeah, no,
You
that's
gotta
the
be
one
better.
That's the
You
one that
you got to be better.
yeah.
But other than that, like, Cam Newton and the Patriots are going to mean nothing to this Chiefs team. As long as Patrick Mahomes is there and he's got weapons and the defense is halfway decent, Patriots aren't going to mean nothing.
Yeah, well, and that's our second side topic was the Cam Newton signing, and Patriots did it again. I mean, they picked up one of the top quarterbacks in the league. We'll see how he recovers. I think that he's going to be great for that team. They're not going to go to the Super Bowl or anything, or close to it, but that was a great sign.
Well, I mean, years ago, top quarterback. He hasn't gotten the chances to be a top quarterback in the last.
Especially with injury.
So I wouldn't say top quarterback. But I think he will be proven to be a top quarterback in that system. I'm very excited for the sign.
I wonder how I do
Very
wonder
excited.
though. I
Very
do wonder simply because Belichick hasn't really had a mobile quarterback in like quite some time that he's had to run his system through. I wonder how he'll adjust to that. I imagine he'll be fine, but
You'll be able to make Cam more disciplined.
yeah, that's the one big thing that Cam really hasn't had throughout his entire career. No disrespect to Ron Rivera, but once Super Bowl 50 happened, ever since then, they kind of just they let him be him. He got a beating, and it just seems like ever since then he hasn't really been the same. I'm excited to see what happens with Cam Newton. I think this could go one of two ways. I think this could be an absolute blessing for the Patriots, or we could see the Patriots just go 8-8, 7-9, simply because of the fact that we have to keep in mind that Cam Newton has gotten injured practically every single year since 2015. Do I think Stidham could like step up to the plate and potentially do some damage? I do. I think he could, especially because he's a rookie and maybe not throwing him into the Lions' den those first few games, that might be good for him. And to have Cam Newton there as an experienced quarterback, that might be good for him. But yeah, I got to agree with Sam. Patriots look way better than they did before signing Cam, but they're not going to the Super Bowl. I would argue they might not even win the AFC East because I still like that Buffalo Bills team. They look really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them getting a wild card spot, though. You know, before this, I saw them being a 5-11 or 6-10 team. I could definitely surprise some people.
I don't know if a Belichick team would ever be like a 6-10 or 5-11, even if their quarterback is Stidham. I love Brady. He's my favorite athlete of all time, but he was pretty bad to end off the season last
I agree.
year. Like pretty bad. And so they still got They still got wins. They still did what they
If
needed
I'm not
to do.
wrong, though, weren't they struggling towards the end of the year?
They were struggling, but not like falling off.
That's the other thing, though, that I do want to point out, though, is that hopefully, if let's say like Cam Newton's quarterback play is questionable or Stidham has to step up and he's kind of lacking behind, the Patriots are going to have to hope that they have that superstar level defense that they did last year. And I don't put them past them that they could do it again. That's a very disciplined defense New England has right now. That defense looked.
We got Matt Castle. We got 10 wins with Matt Castle.
I mean, yeah.
I know the surrounding cast was better, but we got 10 wins with Matt Castle.
Yeah.
I'd expect at least 7 with Stidham. Around them.
I mean, that was 12 years ago, but right. Like, I'm not going to disagree.
I don't know if that changes.
All right. There's our side topics. Cam Newton getting signed to the Patriots and Patrick Mahomes catching a bag today. So for our main topic today, we're going to bring it back to some basketball again. We felt that with only 8 games left in the season, even though some things could change, there are some awards in the NBA that we can kind of sit to ourselves and say, we're pretty confident how we feel about this award season when it comes and goes. So today, we are going to give you guys our predictions for all the NBA awards, not like all NBA or all defense, but today we're going to be giving you guys our MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player, Coach of the Year.
And that's it.
And that's it. Okay, good. I didn't know if I was missing
Because
anything.
we've done Finals MVP in the past already, so there's no need to touch on that again.
Right. I mean, if we want,
this is just the regular season awards, so
yeah.
So let's start from the bottom and finish off with the banger MVP. So we'll start with Coach of the Year.
Nick Nurse.
Yeah,
it's Nick Nurse. I think
go ahead.
He's shown he can handle the Raptors this season without Kawhi, without having that superstar who you can depend on to make a tough shot. Siakam's really getting there, and he's almost there actually. And he stepped up in big moments, but he's managed to keep that team together, keep them fighting for very, very high playoff seeds. It has to be Nick Nurse. He's the best coach this year. I can't see the argument for Vogel because the Lakers are just the Lakers. LeBron and AD are LeBron and AD. They get wins themselves. Doc Rivers, no, not really, not this season. And Budenholzer, you can make the argument for, but I think that's just solely on the team.
Record.
Well, not solely on, but I feel like it's more. I feel like the record is more showing of the players. But Budenholzer is a great coach, and no disrespect to Budenholzer, he's one of the best coaches.
I have to agree with Josh. I've got Nick Nurse as the Coach of the Year. You can make the. I don't really see the good argument for Frank Vogel, even though it's his first year with the team and they're doing well. Like Josh said, they have LeBron and Anthony Davis and a great surrounding team. And the Milwaukee Bucks, again, they have Giannis, who's a top 2 player in the NBA, and also the most all-around team in the NBA. Meanwhile, Nick Nurse has a very good team, like all-around team, but there's not a top 10 player or top 5 player like Frank Vogel and Mike Budenholzer has. And a record is a big thing for the Bucks. I could see him winning it, but I think that Nick Nurse deserves it, especially for what he's done for the Raptors this season, keeping them in the playoffs at a high seed, even with Kawhi gone.
I think that it is none other than Mike D'Antoni. Now, hear me out. Mike D'Antoni has been struggling to get into a correct system that fits him for success. He was running around to different teams. And we praised Steve Kerr, called him an incredible coach for utilizing the small ball lineups that he did and for changing the game and revolutionizing the game with his lineups that he set. Mike D'Antoni's doing the same thing. He's got 2 all-star superstars in James Harden and Russell Westbrook. And he's got a guy named Robert Covington or PJ Tucker as his center going up against these bigs and winning games. His coaching of James Harden has elevated James Harden to the level that he's at. The coaching that he is doing has changed the entire outlook of a team mid-season with Clint Capella and without Clint Capella. and they are truly a finals contending team with a small ball lineup.
But like, I don't know if they have enough wins to like back that up.
Well, yeah, and the
Maybe.
fact that
It's a great outlook on it. It's a good look on it for real. It's
because
he's taking control of the system and maximizing the offense of Russell Westbrook himself while Harden does his thing. And also Covington, like I want to touch on this. Covington, if he was full season with the Rockets, I think he'd be a defensive player of the year candidate. If their defense was good on paper and good ratings wise, he would be, because he was averaging like a steal and 2.5 blocks as a 6'7" forward.
Yep. Nick,
It comes down to Nick Nurse or Budenholzer, but I feel like Budenholzer has this system already last year. Nick Nurse lost a big piece to his team. Again, like it's practically just saying the same thing you guys said. I think it should be Nick Nurse. He's done a phenomenal job with the Raptors this season. They look just as good as they did last year. So I think it should be Nick Nurse.
yeah, and that was a good point, Tim, to what you were saying, because the fact that he's made small ball work so far, that's a good argument. I kind of overlooked that. So moving on to our most improved player of the year award predictions. Josh, who do you got?
This is difficult because I'm between two candidates right now, Brandon Ingram and Bam Adebayo. I'm going to go Bam. And the reason is I think he improved more than Ingram did. And while Ingram might be a better player right now, Bam has become one of the best defenders in the league, has become one of the best playmaking centers in the league, and has maintained good scoring and rebounding all season on a good team. And Ingram before this was like a good scorer and had some great games before his blood clot issues last year. I believe he scored over 25 in like 4 of the last 6 games or something like that with the Lakers. I have to go with Bam. And yeah, I predicted Bam to win most improved player before the season. So
Yep. It is between those two for me as well. I think Devontae Graham is also up there, but I don't see him deserving this award more than Ingram or Bam. But I would take Ingram. He went from an 18-5-3 guy to a 24-6-4 guy. Has been great for the Pelicans. Is a great scorer now. Is an all-star this season, and Bam was too. But I think that Ingram improved in a lot of the aspects from last season that he lacked in more this season. He improved in everything. He didn't decline in any aspect of his game, which is what really – and he stood out because taking that Pelicans team for this run in the playoffs before – they have a good young core, but he is clearly the leader of that team. And Bam is not, although he is still doing great things for that Heat team. I got to take Ingram.
Well, okay, something you didn't mention for Ingram is that his 3-point shooting has skyrocketed.
It went up
It's so
6%
much better
this season.
6% and on like 4.5 more times. Well, the thing with Bam is like he didn't show these flashes of playmaking off the bench like he did with scoring and rebounding. But his assists have gone up by 3 per game, and all his other numbers have gone up. And if you just watch him play, he's a smarter player. Take your pick. I don't.
It's a close call. Both of them deserve it, but I would take Ingram.
I would have to say my most improved player is Luka Doncic. Now, last year, Luka Doncic was an exciting basketball player that we were thinking, wow, great member to join the NBA. Exciting. Sam didn't really mess with him too much. He just didn't think he was clutch, or he didn't think he could do this or that. It was fine. It was okay. This year, however, my God, he is next. I think he's more next than Giannis or any of those newcomers that are coming up, Zion, any of those guys. He is the one to come up next. He is that next generational guy. He has almost no flaws to his game. He is a knockdown shooter. I mean, like in the Rising Stars Challenge, pulls up from half court like nothing, easy money. He's like a hybrid of Steph Curry and LeBron James. It's incredible to watch him. I think he's most.
I don't know
improved.
about that last part. That's not a bad argument. I mean, Luka Doncic.
I think it's a
Luka
good
went from a
argument.
21 point per game scorer to a 29 point per game scorer and almost averaging a triple double. Like he was absurd this season. So that's
The only thing that holds me back from picking someone like Luka or even Trae Young or even Devontae Graham for that matter, they're sophomores and they never get picked to one of the most improved player awards.
yeah,
Like I don't know how many times it's happened, but it's very little.
yeah. It doesn't happen often.
I there's some bias against it. I don't know what it is, but like sophomores don't get picked for the award much. But Luka might be the most overall improved player this season.
Yeah, so that's a good argument. Nick, who do you got?
So I'm going to take Brandon Ingram, and the reason I'm going to use it is I think you have to look at this from an intangible sense, because we can look at this from like a statistical. Of course, Ingram's scoring has gone up, but we knew he was a scorer. We just didn't think he could do it as consistently as he has this year. But think about it like this. Brandon Ingram's entire mentality going into games has completely changed. Look at it like this. When he was in LA, before Braun showed up, he was a guy that easily could have been the best player on that young Lakers team. He could have been the best guy. His name was overshadowed by somehow Larry Nance at moments. D'Angelo Russell was there for half the season just because Larry Nance was more flashy. It's not to say that I think Larry Nance, many people thought was better than Ingram. Larry Nance was more of a highlight to watch, if that makes more sense.
Yeah, I get that.
And then you get LeBron to come there. And last season, Ingram, before even the blood clotting, was a very, very inconsistent player. Talking to Lakers fans and people who watch the game and watching the games myself, Ingram really would have those games where he would look like he could be a Durant-like player, and then he'd have those games where he was absolutely silent. And then he goes to this New Orleans team where they trade AD to the Lakers for all these young guys. And everyone's talking about Lonzo, how Lonzo's going to be leading these young guys to the next step. And Ingram's name kind of got but like I said, like even Ingram's name going into that trade a little bit kind of gets fluttered, because even you have to remember some Lakers fans were truly questioning last season whether or not Kuzma was a bigger contribution than Ingram. And now, of course, this season we look at Kuzma and we say, all right, Kuzma's regressed. Kuzma has not stepped up to the plate and given what the Lakers needed as they have asked him to. But Ingram wasn't asked to step into a leader role, but instead Ingram took the leader role. Ingram is an underrated facilitator in my eyes. And showed up. You have a lot of really inconsistent shooting on that Pelicans team besides JJ Redick. Jackson Hayes is super young. Sometimes I think Jackson Hayes wants to be a stretch, but sometimes he doesn't play like it. Josh Hart can be extremely inconsistent shooting-wise. Some nights he can have 20 points. Some nights he can be extremely cold. Lonzo shoots like a center from the early 90s. Free throw and 3-point. Free throw and 3-point wise.
3-point been good though.
Like we can't sleep. He's shooting 38% on 6.5 threes.
I think he needs to score.
Okay, but he's shooting better from 3 than he is free throw. That's disgusting.
No, that's awful.
That's despicable.
His free throws are.
Now I will.
Really,
I
really
don't want to
bad.
make it seem like I'm just dumping on Lonzo. Like, he's a great playmaker. He's a great facilitator. I just think that Brandon Ingram stepped into a role that many people didn't think he could step into. Brandon Ingram completely redefined his mentality and his take going into the games that I think just elevated him. Like, he just went from this guy that we viewed as, oh, he's just another guy on the Lakers. He's just an inconsistent piece to LeBron on the Lakers, to arguably being the best player on the Pelicans. Some people will say it's Zion. And I mean, Zion had an amazing stretch the first 19 games of the season. But Ingram looks amazing. Ingram looks star level talent. That's why I'm going to pick Ingram for most improved. I just think that his entire mentality and his entire take into this game with arguably worse shooters, while they're still one of the best scoring teams in the league, I think it has to be Ingram.
So moving into our next award, probably the most obvious one today is Rookie of the Year.
Not to a lot of people.
Should
Ja
be.
Morant.
Ja Morant.
Actually, okay, wait. I have a question.
That's a fair argument.
I can definitely see
Yeah,
that.
I agree.
question. And the only reason I'm asking
Matter.
is
Well, even compared,
eligible for Rookie of the Year after playing 37 games. Is Zion actually even eligible to win the award after 19 games? Like, is his name
I have
even
no idea. I have
allowed
no
to be
idea.
on the ballot?
that rookie, class, isn't that the one that where Brogdon won Rookie of the Year?
But like
Or that
again, though,
season
like
before?
no, that was Brogdon. But even then, like that's understandable. Like Brogdon played the whole year, Embiid didn't. So like I just feel like there should be no sort of argument to say Zion should win it. If even Embiid statistically and impact wise destroyed Malcolm Brogdon, and Embiid played 37 games and he still didn't win it. There should be no question that this should be Ja over Zion, irregardless of amount of games played or how close the number was, because at least their numbers are close. Brogdon and Embiid weren't even close, and Brogdon still won.
Right.
The only argument for Zion is like literally just what if he played the whole
You can't use
season?
a hypothetical
You
to
can't
give
make that
somebody an
argument.
It's
award.
not even. It's
can't
not even
project
that.
that.
It's not even that. It's
It-
hype.
Yeah,
The only argument for Zion is that everyone loves how he plays and he gets
Well-
all the attention. That's why he'd win the award. No, there is no other argument.
no.
There's seriously not.
No, okay. The thing is, no, Josh is right, because it is what if he played the whole season? Because in his 19 games, he was averaging close to or similar to, if not better numbers than Ja. So that's
But we
why
asked.
people say
But
that.
listen.
you
But listen.
can't
But
use the
listen.
hypothetical.
Definitely
You
better
can't
than
But
use
Ja.
listen,
Like,
we
that's-
asked the
that's
same
not our-
question about Embiid. What if he played the full season, or even
I
if he
know.
played 60 or 70 games?
I know.
He still didn't win it.
I know. That's
he
what I'm
still
saying.
didn't win it.
Yes,
No,
that's
I'm
the
just saying-
argument,
I'm
and
just saying
and
that's
that's
the argument.
you can't use a hypothetical to give somebody an award.
But the problem is that
But I
if
don't
he
think
wins
it's all
this
hype.
award, there's no reason. If he wins this award, that makes no
Yeah, it
sense.
yeah.
Like they completely contradict their past ideology with Embiid and Brogdon because it's Zion Williamson, and that I
Right.
think is extremely unfair to John Morant.
Right.
See, okay, yeah, that's obvious. Zion may have played better in the games he played than Ja did, but still,
also
Ja
took his
played more
team
games.
farther.
Ja was throughout the season. Zion, to be fair, the Pelicans had a positive record with Zion.
The Grizzlies are a playoff team after a lot of
So-
people didn't even think that they would.
I know. I'm not.
I know.
I'm not saying Zion deserves it. Ja obviously deserves it. It's
And-
not even close.
Tim, you said Ja, right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said
It's-
Ja.
it's
And,
pretty-
yeah,
it
and
should
it's-
be-
It's,
Unanimous. Like,
RJ wasn't good enough. The Knicks
Hell
kind
no.
of like ruining it already. The Knicks are already ruining RJ Barrett by giving him no speed.
yeah.
But
They got
that's
Marcus
for another
Morris as the
No, they
highlight.
don't.
No, they don't.
Yeah, he's
Not
gone.
anymore.
Yeah, he's on
No,
the
he's on the
Lakers, isn't he?
Clippers. Markieff is on the Lakers.
I can't keep up with who. I can't keep up.
People
No,
like to say Tyler Hero,
no.
but like he didn't play that many games either.
that's kind of it.
Um,
Like, I can't think of.
Yeah, because I mean, the Knicks are putting like Taj Gibson and Julius Randle in the same
Ew.
lineup with RJ.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
where's the shooting? And then you'll have Mitchell come off the bench, and it's like Mitchell Robinson's gonna get his points extremely efficiently and play good defense, but he's gonna foul out of the games if he plays more than 30 minutes. So Knicks are an awful situation. The Knicks are
Next award, Man of the Year. Josh, take your pick.
Easy, no competition, not even close.
that man, Dennis Schroeder.
You're out of your
Sir.
mind.
Or you could go Lou Williams
Thank you.
or Montrezl.
No,
You could go
I
either
don't
one.
think you can
It-
this year. I
this-
think it's got to be Schroeder.
Harold, no, I think Harold has a better.
No,
case.
I think Harold does have a better case than
No, I
Williams,
don't. No,
but
I don't.
still,
No, I-
like,
It's
but, like,
debatable.
That is disgusting.
no, like Schroeder. Okay, so like last year, Sam kept making the point to me that Schroeder should be six man, and I thought it was dumb. I just didn't think Schroeder had proved himself enough. This season, Schroeder has really, really stepped up in a way that the Thunder really need him, especially with them losing Westbrook. I think it has to be Schroeder.
Yeah, I want
like Schroeder has done this year for that Thunder team off the bench.
I want to point out from a Thunder fan.
I love those
that
3-point guard
watches-
lineups they run with Schroeder,
Chris Paul and
Shea and Chris Paul.
Shea,
Lineups
yeah.
are so fun.
Yeah,
And they're effective too. Like they have like super high net ratings and stuff. Like they've done very well.
yeah, I like that lineup a lot. That's the one thing I will give to Billy Donovan is the way he's run his lineups this season. I'm pretty impressed with him. I like him a lot. But anyway, Schroeder, if you talked to me at all last year, he has improved so much this season. He was inconsistent last year. You really never knew what you were going to get with him. And this season, he is so important to that Thunder team. He's like such a key piece as to why their bench is solid. I mean, he's averaging 19 a game. He's shooting much better than he did last season from the field goal and three. It's got to be him, especially with how well that Thunder team is doing after they weren't projected to do well at all. He's doing everything off the bench. It's got to be him.
I respect that. I definitely respect that. I think that it's a very close race between Lou Will and Schroeder. And if somebody says Schroeder, I'll give it to him for sure. I personally think Lou Will, because I personally think Lou will go down in the Hall of Fame as the only sixth man to be in the Hall of Fame. I think he's.
I mean,
Kevin McHale's
wasn't for long enough anyway. So.
Kevin McHale's garbage. Would see Dennis Schroeder. If he won it, I would not be upset at all.
I think Montrezl Harrell should also be mentioned, but I think that
I already mentioned him. He had a great season.
I think
actually scored more than Lou.
I think Schroeder deserves it. So getting into our final two awards, probably the most difficult one for all of us, Defensive Player of the Year. Josh, who's your pick?
I'm so torn. Like seriously, defense. If you want better rim protection, you're gonna go with AD. It's so difficult.
I can go first because I have an answer.
Counting stats along with I got it. I want to speak on this. So if you want counting stats,
that Lou Will is a transcendent player in that he creates his own opportunities coming off the bench and plays like a superstar. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anchor. If you want Giannis, the number one defense in the league, the guard, pretty much all five positions. He's not putting up the steals and the blocks like he was, like AD is, but the Bucks have been like generation defying on defense this season, especially with Giannis and Bledsoe together. The amount of points they allow is like super low. Lakers to a top 3 defense this year. Being the I don't know. I'll go. Honestly, this award could be decided in the last 8 games. Like seriously,
that's how I feel. I feel like this is definitely the award that's going to get swayed by these last 8 games. Giannis has an amazing defensive rating so season. Again, the Bucks have looked amazing defensively. All they've done this year is improve from what they did last season.
Yeah.
I mean, he is so difficult to go against on both ends of the floor, dude.
This one's very close.
Yeah.
Between Anthony Davis and Giannis. I mean, if you want to look at the numbers, Anthony Davis ranks top 3 in blocks and is 15th in steals, and he's only one of 2 big men that are top 15 in steals per game this season. But the thing with defense is it goes beyond the numbers a lot. You can't always look at numbers to give out and rank a defensive player. So that's the thing that's difficult. With Giannis, he also leads the league in defensive win shares and the best defensive rating in the league. But Davis, I got to go with Davis. It's so close. So I could see Giannis winning D-point and MVP, but I'm taking Davis.
He got exposed as being the kind of defender where, like, if you get him out past 10 feet, it's not that bad to get by him. He kind of seems to be uncoordinated sometimes. And Utah just kind of didn't look like they were that good of a team this year, unfortunately. So I think this could go down to the last 8 games. If I had to personally say, though, I wouldn't be surprised if they give Giannis this award. The one player that's really been hurt, especially because of this break, because I feel like there's really 3 candidates, Giannis, AD, and then the person I think that's been hurt a lot is Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert will always be up there for depoy conversation, but I feel like simply because of the way that he ended the season, and not like, I don't mean like because he had Corona, I mean more like just his play on the defensive end. He looked bad. He looked kind of bad. He got exposed a lot off ball.
Player of the year is Anthony Davis. As a anchor for the Los Angeles Lakers, I think that he is the big difference between what LeBron James's teams are usually known for. You see with the early Cavaliers in 2007 when they made the finals, it was pretty much a dumpster fire. There really was no identity. It was just LeBron going crazy. After that, when they picked up players like Big Z, Shaq, I mean, they weren't really a defensively minded team.
Elevating the team, like just good on defense since Miami.
Have someone that is showing you night in and night out. You can have a presence in the paint. You can have a presence on the wing. It motivates the other players to play better. And I think that the player that shows his team how to play defense and the player that can be the leader of the defensive scheme is the better defensive player and should be defensive player of the year.
That was a great argument. Yeah, that's a great argument. It's
this season. He's leading them to wins. He's leading them to the best defense in the league, while not having the best surrounding core. It's a great team. It's a great core around, but it's not perfect. But it's good. It's great, and the system is great. But he's elevating that team so much, and with the most dominant player of the season, with LeBron, of course. So I mean, you can't make the argument that a player is an MVP just because of 2 games on the weekend. For the LeBron argument, you can't make the argument that he outplayed.
Here's what I'll say:
Giannis one weekend, but that's not that.
What I'll say is, I think that LeBron has more of an argument than just that. I mean, people might use that as a recency, but it's not like he's there. And that the reason that weekend was important is because he played the 2 teams that people thought LeBron couldn't get past, or some people thought that, and he beat them both in a span of 3 days. So that was very impressive. It was a big weekend for him. But I am also taking Giannis. Is improving every season. I did not think that he can improve that much from last season, and he proved me wrong. An MVP is playing only 30 minutes a game. That's absurd. And he's got the best PR in the league. He's got everything going for him. He's got the best record, 3rd in scoring. Like we just mentioned, he's a depoy candidate, so he's a top defender in the league, a top offensive threat in the league. And a big thing is he's only playing 30.9 minutes a game, which ranks 73rd in the NBA.
Averages over 10 assists. I think I can tackle this.
You got it.
I'm going to go ahead out front and say I think LeBron James is the MVP. And to directly counter an argument you made about the minutes per game, LeBron James is playing 34.9 minutes per game, which is the lowest of his career so far, while averaging 25.7 points per game, 7.9 rebounds, and 10.6 assists. Think about this real quick.
We're playing point guard this season. Like, if we want to be
okay, but like we know that he's a
Magic
we
Johnson,
know he's
though.
a small forward, so that's not.
Yeah. Here's the
thing. Giannis is playing to his position, right? Giannis, if you asked,
Trae Young's not there yet.
What is he at? Like 9.5?
He's at.
No, is he really? Oh, okay.
Or 9. Yeah. Well,
so when you think, if somebody tells you, hey, this person's averaging over 10 assists per game, you instinctively think, wow, great point guard, probably top point guard in the league. Now, what if I tell you that that person is a 270-pound small forward, averaging that, right?
Well, I mean, okay.
Not only that,
hold on.
because we know he's been consistent. Hold on.
No,
He's been
I want to
consistently
make one
a great
quick point
passer. He's
that
the
has
greatest
like
passing small forward ever.
no, absolutely. And the only thing about it is he
What position is that averages
Point
over 10
guard.
assists?
usually the point guard.
Point guard, right? Name a couple point guards recently that average over 10 assists.
Russell
Rondo.
Westbrook.
Trae Young.
To play point guard, LeBron James brought in, or the Los Angeles Lakers brought in Anthony Davis. I mean, kind of LeBron James, yeah. Team to the best record in the West. And LeBron knew that to maximize the success of his team, he needed to change positions, a position in which he had never played before. And going up, he wouldn't play it like that.
Literally played it for an
He wouldn't
entire
play-
month.
He literally played it for an entire
How
season.
many assists did he average?
Tim's point.
I don't
Tim's
remember
point is
offhand.
Tim's
Hold on,
point is
hold on,
even though
hold
he
on,
played
hold on.
point guard, he wasn't a point guard.
Thank you. There is a time and a place when you are held within your own boundaries as a basketball player, dimensionally. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a power forward. Okay? He may have a better handle than most power forwards, but he is, identity-wise, a power forward. LeBron James is the only player outside of Magic Johnson that I have ever heard of that could literally and truly play every single position if it team sensed this great talent. He is now averaging the least amount of minutes per game in his career, averaging a double-double in assists and close to a triple-double with 7.9 rebounds. That's close to me, if you ask. Don't know how. I mean, he's been snubbed on a lot of MVP races just because it's LeBron. But I've never seen a player change positions towards the end of their career and have as much success as a player that has grown up and become to the best record in the league. It's a lot more than statistics to me. Steve Nash, Chris Paul, great point guards who average 10 assists a game. It's not an easy thing, and not every point guard does it. And for his first year being a point guard, to be able to accomplish that while leading a team that is brand new to him.
This is a good argument, but this isn't what MVP is. It's usually, and whether it should be or not, like LeBron is probably the most valuable player to a franchise and to elevating a team to its max success of all time. I will say that. But unfortunately, the way MVP is given out is usually it's the best stats on the best team. You have to kind of go by that criteria.
Not always on the best team.
Unless
Not
you want to
always
change
on
it
the
up.
best team.
Usually. And I mean, I feel like the best LeBron argument is that he was so beaten down last year by injuries and the Lakers. It was all,
And then comeback Bron, yeah.
LeBron washed King narrative, which is like, oh, okay. But like, it's like he rebounded from all this. And
So, Josh, let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
If you're saying that MVP is based off of the person with either the best statistics or the best record in the league, right? Why did Derrick Rose win the MVP?
usually there are some weird cases.
So then
about
why
this.
does this year this year have to not be a weird case?
Because I feel it's
Right,
more
I'm
of
asking.
a complete season than LeBron does.
Yeah, I thought LeBron did too that year.
Which
But
year?
Derrick Rose won.
Can I give
Derrick
my
Rose
argument?
won.
No,
That's a
listen.
very interesting decision. That's a very
Can I
interesting
make my
decision.
argument real quick?
Go ahead.
First of all, when it comes to Derrick Rose, LeBron James, first of all, Derrick Rose had a better record, but did not statistically have a better season. Secondly, Giannis Antetokounmpo not only has a better record by 6 games. The Lakers have won 51 games, and the Bucks are at 56, 57.
No.
Am I thinking it wrong?
It's
Your
how
records are
It's
far?
wrong.
49 and 54, I'm pretty sure.
That's 5 wins. Not only that, Giannis is averaging damn near 30 on 13 rebounds a game and 6 assists a game, while being mentioned for Defensive Player of the Year, having the best defensive rating in the NBA, also the best offensive rating in the NBA. LeBron is averaging the lowest amount of points he's averaged since 2015. His rebound number is down, and while his assist number is up, and he become the first non-point guard since Wilt Chamberlain to win an assist title. Defensively, the same level as Giannis. Offensively, he's not on the same level as Giannis. Continuing on, here's the point that I want to make that really frustrates me about this whole. Wait, no. Hold on. I want to make this comment about the MVP race. Here at face value, say what frustrates me is that LeBron has entered this race based on one weekend. Listen. No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. So let me expand on it. We going into February would have conversations as to whether or not Giannis would join Curry as the first unanimous MVP ever. We, at one point in the season, truly looked at the Milwaukee Bucks, looked at their record, and said they could match the 95-96 Bulls. Giannis has improved his shooting this season. He's still not Curry. He's still not Booker. I wouldn't even say he's still LeBron as a shooter.
He's not a good shooter.
But he's still improved his shooting. No, I don't think he's a good shooter either.
Right.
But he's an average shooter this season. He's become an average shooter this season. The Bucks are 3-1 against the Lakers and Clippers. Giannis puts up amazing stat lines night in and night out. And Giannis has consistently done that throughout the entire season. We are seriously going to sit here and say to ourselves that LeBron James made up 60 plus votes within a month. We went from saying this man Giannis could 122 to nothing the MVP vote. And now we're sitting here saying that Giannis could lose it on a month that he still averaged the same numbers he's been averaging all year long. He's putting up numbers that we haven't seen since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But we're going to say that LeBron could win MVP, putting up numbers that we haven't seen since Shaquille O'Neal in 2000.
LeBron is putting up numbers that we haven't seen ever.
Dude, seriously, stop this. This is ridiculous. Giannis is going.
Tell me a small forward that averages.
Giannis is going to obliterate LeBron at the MVP vote. Giannis is going to win that MVP vote in first place votes 90-32.
Here's what I'll say.
This will not even be remotely close.
Here's what I'll say.
Because LeBron has legitimately nothing on Giannis besides playmaking. So that is it.
And shooting. But here's what I'll say.
All right.
First off, just for clarification, Giannis is not first in offensive rating. He's not even top 20 in offensive rating. But anyway. But anyway.
No,
it doesn't.
Like offensive rating?
That's all I wanted to say.
Point that out.
But in a way, you're both right. Both of these seasons from these players have been unbelievable. They've been spectacular. In a lot of other seasons, LeBron would take the MVP, but Giannis is doing
in every other.
But Giannis
season.
is doing something that we really have never seen before, and LeBron is too. We have never seen a point forward like this, averaging 26 and 10 assists. Like Magic didn't even average 26 when he was averaging those high assists, and so you're both right. But I do agree with Nick. Giannis is really doing something that we've never seen, and LeBron is too, but Giannis is doing it better. He's having a better season.
Jesus Christ, Dad.
Hey, we've never seen a center be able to average 20, 10, and 7, shooting high percentage from 3. Oh, hey, Nikola Jokic. It's something we haven't seen before.
I mean, that's fair.
This haven't seen before argument's not great.
The thing is, so I don't think either of them are basing their whole argument off of, we've never seen it. No, they're not. But they're not basing their whole argument of we haven't seen it before, so they should be MVP. But I think that matters. I think that's part of a reason why Jokic is the best center in the league.
I've never heard that.
Never heard that.
It's him or Embiid.
Also, can we talk about how Giannis Antetokounmpo is not only obliterating everyone in player efficiency rating, but at one point in the season, he was actually going to break the record before he had to take the last 2 games off of the season.
So here's my question. Why is it fair that LeBron gets snubbed on all these MVP awards, But the second that Giannis does anything even remotely close to what LeBron did, he's the next coming of Michael Jordan.
First of all, this is completely.
So why do we have to give LeBron? Why do we have to? Hey! I want to speak. Why are we going to give LeBron sympathy votes for getting?
I'm not. I'm just giving him his due credit.
That's not fair to give him votes this season for a season he didn't win it in. No, it's not for fair.
This season. It's for this season. I'm drawing similarities.
So wait a minute, let me get this straight. Because we didn't give LeBron the vote that he deserved this year.
No,
we
that's not what I'm
give
saying.
Giannis the vote he deserves this year. That's
exactly not what I'm saying.
What you're saying, G.
All I'm saying is, why did we do that to LeBron, but we're not doing it to Giannis?
Because sometimes people mess up. That's why. People mess up the votes, and that's what happens. Sorry, listen. Okay. The voting fatigue argument never existed before Giannis. Well, LeBron. I'm sorry. I misspoke. It never existed before LeBron. And that's unfortunate. And that sucks to LeBron's resume because LeBron will have to put that on his resume. But that doesn't mean, because we did it to LeBron, we have to do it to this guy.
But I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you have to do it to him. I'm just saying it's interesting to me that that's happening. I also have made a very, I think, decent point as to why I think LeBron should be the MVP.
You made a good argument.
You did.
I don't see how a blowout in this instance. I don't see how you're saying it's going to be 96 or fucking whatever.
Y'all are seriously going to sit here, and at one point in the season, we were determining whether or not Giannis would unanimously win this award, and suddenly you're saying 70-50.
Unanimously?
Yes.
I never.
There was a point. There was a point. It is right now. I don't even.
I'm not. But listen, I'm not even saying that. I thought he'd win it unanimously. I thought it was an interesting conversation that people.
I did at one point.
I thought it was an interesting argument. I thought it was an interesting argument.
And some good shooting and ball handling off the bench.
All right, so
all right, we thank you guys for tuning into this episode. We hope you guys enjoyed our topic for tonight. Be sure to tune in next week. And also, if you guys want to stay interacted with us, we do have social media. We use Instagram a lot. Twitter, we're going to try and start getting back up onto. And I believe we just made a Facebook this week. So make sure to give us a follow on all those social medias.
Yep.
Also, feel voice messages or just questions for side topics that we can talk about on episodes. And I mean, we'll most likely get to them. We aren't getting a ton of questions right now.
Yep.
So if you leave a question, we will most definitely get to it in the near future.
And last thing real quick before we close it out. If you guys want to see a topic, like if you want to see us discuss it, you can hit us up in a variety of ways. You can send us a voice message about it. You can DM us on Instagram. You could even hit up our email, thirdandonepodstnj@gmail.com. And yeah, we'll get to those topics.
All right, guys. Well, with that being said, stay educated, stay safe, and we can't wait to see you guys next time.